Hi everybody. Okay, so to quickly talk about stage 2, this is probably the most miserable stage of them all. However, there's the least leading into it. You go into stage 1, typically you notice all those prodromal symptoms that we talked about in the other video, and then you roll into stage 2. Stage 2 is when you would have an episode. It is the hyperemesis stage of CHS. This is when you typically have uncontrollable nausea and vomiting, extreme abdominal pain. We've actually coined a term called scromiting because the screaming and vomiting, it is so painful. It's like having a knife right in your gut. And then diarrhea and constipation. Frequently, you'll wake up first thing in the morning and you will notice you are either constipated or have diarrhea, and that will lead into an uncontrollable round of vomiting that can last anywhere from a couple hours to a couple days, some people a couple weeks. This is when people present to the emergency room because they are absolutely miserable and they think they're dying, and they just will do anything to make it stop. So you get to the emergency room, they will probably ask you if you've had a colonoscopy, an upper GI. If you have, what were the results? They'll stop the nausea and vomiting, or at least they will try. Usually they will do Zofran, they will try Benadryl, they'll try Haldol. Sometimes they will try Ativan. Fosaprepitant is usually a last case scenario medication, but it works really well. It's usually when someone's been sick though for a couple weeks and they're at their, they've tried everything else and they can't figure out what else to do. This is still, again, your Benadryls, your antihistamines are going to be very helpful in here. Electrolyte replacement to do the IVs and get whatever IV fluids they're going to give you in the hospital. That's critical. Sometimes if you're in this stage, you go just for IV fluids because you don't want to get an electrolyte imbalance. You don't want to get dehydrated. This is when CHS can actually be deadly, is during the hyperemetic stage. So this is when people typically present to the emergency room. Also, this is when you will notice people are sitting in the hot showers. If they're drawn to the heat, the heating pads on the stomach, capsaicin cream on your stomach. This is the most painful, miserable time. Once you get through stage 2, you will typically go into recovery. Recovery is another video coming up, but recovery is if you quit smoking and you quit consuming, you will start to get better. If not, you can very easily end up going back to stage 1, like on the other video, with all the symptoms that basically grow into stage 2 again. And the hyperemetic stage that you're in at this point is something that will happen to you again. In time, they tend to get meaner and a little bit more severe. It's not something to mess with. If you can quit before you get to this stage, that's ideal. So have a good afternoon. And stage 3 is coming up. Have a good day.